Hey guys, it's Bethany. Welcome back to my channel, Bethany Brings Books. I am doing a new video today. I've never done one like this before, but I was inspired by some of the other videos that I've seen on here, so we're gonna give it a try. I've seen a lot of people doing the videos where they read what their booktube friends' favorite books are, and I thought that would be fun to do. I didn't read these really with the intent of doing that. I kind of realized both of these were books that several of my booktube friends had recently talked about and loved. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. So I didn't do a vlog or anything like that. The two books that I'm going to be talking about today are Where the Road Bends by Rachel Fordham and Dangerous Beauty by Melissa Coslin. So both of these books have been really hyped by several of my booktube friends. Katie, a Paperbacks and Ponytails, I couldn't think for a second. She read both of these and talked about how much she enjoyed them. And this one I was already really planning to read. I had put it on my wish list, and Lindsay Lemus, one of my friends on Bookstagram, and also she comments on the videos and stuff. She gifted this to me, which was really sweet. I had kept meaning to pick it up, and I just hadn't yet. When it first came out, I had heard Katie talk about it, as well as this one. Well, then Oshina recently did that video where she was also talking about reading this one and reading this one. She did a couple videos pretty close together. I'll try to put it in the description box, but she read both of these based on the recommendation of her booktube friends. She just really loved both of them and raved about both of them, so I decided to give them a try too. So shout out to Katie and Oshina for influencing me to read both of these books. The Rachel Fordham one, actually, I probably would not have picked it up if I had not heard them talking about it specifically. They mentioned that it had redeeming love vibes and that it was really sweet, and then Oshina was just talking about how there's a twist in it, so I decided to give it a try. But the reason I say it really wouldn't have been on my radar is because I've read a couple of Rachel Fordham books. I read her first one. There was a lot of hype about it. I read it a couple years ago, and I enjoyed it. It was a very sweet story. Then I read her I think it was her second one. Dear Yours Truly Thomas or something like that. Yours Truly Thomas, I think. And that one for me felt pretty flat. It was just okay, kind of predictable. So I kind of thought, I probably won't really pick up anything else by Rachel Fordham. But then everyone talked about this one so much, I was like, okay, I want to give it a try, especially if it has redeeming love, those same kind of vibes. I'm so glad I did. So let's talk about which one should we talk about first? Oh man, I think I'm going to talk about this one first, because this one I have a ton of notes that I want to talk about, and this one I don't have quite so many. But yeah, Dangerous Beauty by Melissa Coslin. Overall, this book, I gave it 5 stars. It was just a really interesting story. We have a young lady who's being trafficked from Mexico, and she's at a truck stop. A guy who, obviously, we find out as the story goes along, he has background in being able to pick up on human trafficking victims, and he's very aware of people who look like they're being trafficked and stuff, and so he realizes she's being trafficked. He calls authorities and anyway basically initiates a rescue of her. The problem is she is not a citizen of the US, so she's gonna get sent back to Mexico. The whole thing's gonna happen again. She's gonna be trafficked again. To keep that from happening, he offers to marry her, and I know that sounds kind of crazy right off the bat, but the story, she just did it in a really good way. So his name is Merrick, I think. Yeah, Merrick Toledon. He is very mysterious, very much has his own kind of personal issues, but he's also very secretive, very compassionate. So he treats her with compassion. He treats her very gently, and he doesn't try to come on to her or anything like that. He just treats her really well. I love the way Melissa wrote this as far as when you're in each character's heads, how they process their thoughts and their feelings. It feels very real, you see them processing it and how do I feel about this? Do I feel this way or do I feel that way? And I know Oshina kind of mentioned that in her review, and so I really picked up on that, and I appreciated that as well. And also just the way she she really showed a good representation, I think, of how human trafficking victims, you know, the trauma that they go through, they're not instantly healed from it, and, you know, they have issues, and Merrick understood that, and Merrick was very, very careful with her and how he treated her and stuff, and it was very fast-paced. I mean, extremely fast-paced. Like, this book I read so fast, I did not want to put it down. Like, literally. This is one of those books when you say you don't want to put a book down. This book I did not want to put down. It was so fast-paced. But it was really in a good way. It was well done. It wasn't like fast-paced in the way like, oh, somebody's just trying to throw something in, happening every chapter just to have it. It connected very well. It was just a beautiful story. I loved it so much. Melissa Coslin if she continues to write, I would definitely see her as being one of my favorite authors. I would classify this as maybe a bit of it says romantic suspense, but I would say maybe thrillerish. Not sure. But yeah, it was just really well written. I definitely saw a lot of what's going on currently in the world. I got vibes from the whole Jeffrey Epstein scandal thing, all that stuff that went on. So it really made me more aware of the issue, and I was already aware of it, but the city where I live in, like, trafficking, prostitution, homelessness is all like a big problem. And the church that I used to attend before my husband died, we were really involved in homeless outreach, and so through that we saw prostitutes and we saw some people that were probably trafficked and stuff, and so it hit home in some ways, but it definitely also just made me more aware and more passionate about this. Like, I want to pray for this situation and do what I can to, I don't know, to do something to stop it. It definitely had very hard themes, but it was written so beautifully. And I would say that I actually just finished reading The Masterpiece by Francine Rivers, and this book, even though The Masterpiece by Francine Rivers is not really hugely about human trafficking, this book really reminds me of that. Like, Merrick reminds me a lot of Roman in The Masterpiece. That was the one thing I even wrote in my review, and I hadn't even read The Masterpiece, was that I would have loved something with more faith in it. The book was fast-paced, suspenseful. There's like a very light, very light. It wasn't major at all. And that's what I would have loved to see in it, was something along the lines of what Francine writes with, just bringing in all of those redemptive themes in her life and in Merrick's life. I think that would have made this book even better than what it was. That would have just really made this like a perfect book. But for what it was really good, and I highly recommend it. I have a sticky tab. I'm gonna want to see what I tab. I think this was the quote that really stuck out to me. She tells him that she was loyal to him, and she says, "When I get the chance, I stand up for you. I would do what I could to protect you. I know I can't do much, but sometimes what really matters is that someone tries, that someone sees something in you to make them want to protect you." That just kind of stuck out to me. I guess with some of the things that I've gone through, just that thought process of wanting to try to protect others, even sometimes when they're not really, we feel like they are not worthy of our protection. Sometimes if we love them, we want to protect them. So yes, but Merrick, I really enjoyed his character. It was interesting. Yeah, I really love this. So then, this was my favorite one that I read in April. I read both of these in April. Where the Road Bends by Rachel Fordham. And this book, just thinking about it, makes me want to hug it. Like, I just want to hug it. It made me cry. Oh, it was such a sweet story. Such a sweet story. Some of the vibes that I got from this, I did get Redeeming Love vibes. I also kind of got When Calls the Heart vibes. Like, the main character in here makes me think about about Lucas from the later seasons of When Calls the Heart. But yeah, this book, just what really touched my heart about this was the redemptive themes. Like, the redemptive themes that you see in it, the forgiveness, the love and compassion, and self-sacrifice. It was beautiful. It was so beautiful. That I'm realizing, I've seen people talk about what their buzzwords are, and redemption or redemptive themes is my buzzword. I love books that have really big redemptive themes. And this one, it was beautiful. So we follow Nora King, who is all alone on her family land in like 1880. She's about to enter a marriage of convenience with a man she really doesn't know a lot about, but he's going to help her save her land, so she's going to marry him. She's out taking care of her land, and she finds this man who is just terribly beaten, all wounded and left for dead, like laying out in her field. And she takes him home. She manages to get him home and take care of him and kind of mend him back to health. And the first few chapters that we see that, like them talking and their long conversations, something happens, and it's like a year later, just a big plot twist. And just where the story goes from there is so beautiful. Like, I could just cry thinking about it. Like, once you get, you read through that first part and you think, okay, I kind of know where this is going, and then the plot twist comes and it's like, oh, wait, that didn't go the way I thought it was gonna go. It was just beautiful. Get Nora's face, and then we see the stuff that happens with what's his name, Quincy. We see what happens with Quincy. The story is just beautiful. Like, literally thinking about it makes me want to cry. It was so beautiful. I could read it again. And it's hard to talk about because there's things that happen that, it's spoilers, so I can't talk about it. But it's well worth reading. I don't know what to say other than I loved it, and I think y'all should read it and give it a try. And I want to talk about all the quotes the tabs that I tabbed, because there was so much stuff in it that really touched my heart. So let's see. What do we have tabbed here? First one that I have, and I actually highlighted it. This one was really good. Quincy told her, "It's not the dark that torments me," and she said, "That's a shame. The dark is easier to cure than other fears." Is it? Much easier. Without fail, if you add light, the dark dies. It's a tried and true remedy. That was like so profound to me. I don't know why, it just was. On the next page, there was this quote: "Go to sleep for now, but don't decide already that tomorrow will be troublesome." She smiled. "It may very well prove to be full of surprises." That one was another good one. There was a lot of good quotes in here. Well, this whole scene was just beautiful. I can't really talk a lot about it, but it was such a beautiful scene where they talk about making a list for like the man she's gonna marry, making a list of her dreams and what she wants to do. It's just a sweet scene. I can't really talk about it, but it's so sweet. It had my heart squeezing. Now this quote really touched me. Quincy's talking about how it says, "Every penny felt like a gift, sometimes a burden, but always something to be treated with care." I was like, yes, that just spoke to me. Yeah, and I think about it now. Like, I'm trying to think about it and remember, when I'm tempted to just waste money and blow money on stuff I don't need. I want to think about that and be like, what? Every penny is a gift. This is another one I like bracketed. I can't really talk about it but it's beautiful. I put the note, the beauty of grace and redemption that Nora offered him. It's pretty. Some of these I can't. This one, I wrote my heart. What was it? Oh, it's something that that Quincy does. That is so sweet. My little heart squeezes just thinking about it. Oh, this letter. Oh my word, this letter was precious. I was like, I wrote, It's a letter that Quincy writes, and it's so precious. Oh, this was so sweet. I want to read this again, y'all. I really want to read it again. Just flipping through it. I want to read it again. I forgot how precious and how sweet it is. And it's just, is so sweet. It's so sweet. I want to hug it. I can't even put into words. This book just has a certain quality to it that even other really good books that I've read, there's just a certain quality in this one, just a very sweetness. It's just sweet redemption in the characters. I love it. I love it so much. Yeah, so, y'all, yeah. Thank you, Katie and Oshina, for recommending these. I love both of them so much, and I would highly recommend that y'all read them too. So, yeah, definitely going on my favorite books of the year. Absolutely going on my list of favorite books of the year. So, thank y'all for watching, guys. I will talk to y'all later. Bye.